Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're tackling something pretty universal, love.
Definitely a big one.
And we're not just scratching the surface. We're really digging into the ideas from discover the law of attraction for relationships and love.
Yeah, it's quite a specific take on it.
So if you're maybe hoping for a new relationship or wanting to strengthen one you're in, or even just, feel more loved generally,
then this should be relevant.
stick with us.
What's really interesting from the get-go is how this source frames love. It's not just like a feeling,
Right.
but almost like a fundamental power, the engine behind what we want to create.
A power source.
Yeah, it actually calls it the power source of all manifestation, which connects to that old Emerson idea.
Love and you shall be loved.
Exactly. The book presents that as like a core principle for using the law of attraction in relationships. It suggests this sort of fundamental give and take.
Okay, let's unpack that. Love as a power source. So the law of attraction, as this source sees it, is about drawing in what you focus on, right?
That's the gist, yes.
So it's saying love isn't just nice to have, it's the actual fuel for manifesting what you want, especially relationship-wise.
It calls it both a secret and a key philosophy.
Which really elevates it, doesn't it? Makes you think how often our biggest dreams are, fundamentally about connection, about love in some way.
Absolutely. And the text pushes that further, suggesting love is pervasive. It's in so many parts of our lives, maybe without us noticing.
Like passion for a hobby or feeling connected to music.
Yeah, those are expressions of love too, in a broader sense. And crucially, the source links this directly to happiness, to well-being.
Yeah.
It says something like, all joy stems from some form of love.
Wow. Okay, so our mission here then is to figure out how we can consciously tap into this power source.
Right. Using the principles the book lays out to actually cultivate more love.
Now, obviously, if it were that easy, well, everyone would be living in romantic bliss, wouldn't they?
Probably.
Yeah.
And the source does acknowledge that. It talks about how many of us get tangled up in negative feelings around love.
Yeah, like anxieties, worries about past hurts, that whole why isn't it happening for me feeling.
And this leads to a really critical point the book makes about the blocks we put up, often unintentionally.
Okay.
It really highlights the impact of negative self-perception. If you consistently see yourself negatively.
Like being down on your looks or fixating on failed relationships.
Exactly. Or just feeling deep down that you're not really lovable. The source argues you're then inadvertently blocking the way for others to express their love.
It's like you're putting out a do not disturb sign without realizing it, dimming your own light, as you said.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. And the text really stresses how damaging it is to focus on what's missing.
On the isn't rather than the could be.
Because if we go back to that core law of attraction idea, like attracts like.
Okay.
The source suggests your dominant thoughts and feelings create your, let's call it, vibrational frequency.
Right.
So if you're constantly tuned in to lack or replaying old heartbreaks, that negative vibe becomes your main signal.
And the universe, according to this view, just reflects that back.
That's the idea. Dwelling on the bad stuff essentially reinforces it, keeps that lack going in your experience. The universe needs clarity on what you do want, not what you don't.
Okay, so that sounds like a bit of a trap. How do we break out of that negative cycle then? The source must offer some, practical steps.
It does. It moves into application. The first area involves daily manifestation techniques.
Right. What does that actually mean, according to this book? What does it look like?
Well, the emphasis isn't just on wishing. It's about actively, consciously filling your thoughts and even your actions with what it calls absolute love.
Absolute love. That sounds intense.
It does. But the idea seems to be about cultivating positive feelings generally. For yourself first, that's key.
Self-love as a starting point.
Definitely. And then for others, friends, family, even strangers. The thinking is that this internal shift changes your whole energy, making you more open, more receptive to love coming in.
And it mentions visualization too.
It does mention visualization exercises for love, yeah. Though, interestingly, it doesn't detail specific exercises. It sort of implies the act of picturing the love you want, feeling it as if it's real, is the important part.
Embodying the feeling you want to attract. Okay. What's the next practical step?
The next big one is gratitude. The source calls it a crucial aspect for unlocking abundant love.
Gratitude. Why is that so pivotal here?
Well, the argument is that by focusing on and really appreciating the love you already have in your life.
Even if it feels small.
Exactly. No matter how little, it says. By doing that, you're basically sending out a signal of abundance, not lack.
Okay, so what kind of love are we talking about being grateful for?
All sorts. It gives examples like love from the universe, which is quite abstract, but also self-love, which you mentioned, romantic love if you have it, even just love for things you enjoy, like hobbies or nature, and love for other people in your life.
Your friends, your family, pets.
Pets definitely count. Any existing source of connection and warmth. By valuing that, you supposedly create the energetic space for more love to enter.
And this applies within existing relationships too, not just for single.
Oh, absolutely. The source talks quite a bit about using gratitude to strengthen current bonds.
How so?
By consciously shifting your focus. Instead of, getting hung up on your partner's little annoying habits.
Well, we all have those lists.
Right. Instead, focus on what you genuinely appreciate. Their support, maybe their humor, how they listen, the thoughtful things they do.
So actively looking for the good stuff.
Exactly. The book suggests this is a powerful way to keep the fire of your romance alive. You're feeding the positive aspects.
And it claims this appreciation gets returned.
It suggests the love can be repaid twicefold. The idea seems to be that your partner feels the appreciation, which deepens the connection and encourages them to reciprocate. It becomes a positive cycle instead of a negative one.
Okay, that makes sense. Manifestation, gratitude. What's the third key action?
The third one is about taking decisive action. This feels a bit more outward focused.
Moving beyond just the internal work.
Yeah, it seems so. The source puts forward this quite empowering idea that you're not just passively waiting for love to happen to you. You have agency.
You have control.
Right. It encourages moving away from, say, envying other people's happy relationships and towards actively building your own happiness.
So what does that look like? Putting yourself out there more.
That seems to be part of it.
Yeah.
A key phrase is keeping your mind and heart open to receive love, open to possibilities, open to new connections.
Being receptive?
Yes. And it also mentions, sort of intriguingly, a law of attraction love toolkit.
A toolkit? What's in it?
Well, it doesn't actually detail the tools. It's more the idea that there are practical things you can do, exercises, actions, resources, to actively pursue and attract love. It implies you need to meet the universe halfway, so to speak. Be ready, be willing.
Okay, so let's try and bring it all together from this source. Discover the law of attraction for relationships and love. It sounds like the recipe is. First, get your internal state right. Positive thoughts, building genuine self-love as the foundation.
Crucial first step, yeah.
Then layer on active, conscious gratitude, appreciating all the love, big or small, that's already around you.
Changing that focus to abundance.
And finally, don't just sit back. Take intentional steps, whatever they might be for you, while making sure you're genuinely open to letting love in.
That sums it up pretty well. The core message from this source really emphasizes how much your inner world, your thoughts, your feelings, your core beliefs about love and yourself shapes your outer reality.
So it's less about some kind of magic spell.
Right. It's more about aligning yourself energetically, using intention, using appreciation to basically become a better receiver for loving connections and also a better nurturer of the love you find.
Which leads to a really interesting question for you, the listener, to maybe mull over.
Yeah.
Thinking about these ideas, positivity, self-love, gratitude, openness, action, where in your own life could applying that focus make the biggest difference right now?
Good question.
And just imagine what might actually shift if you made a conscious effort starting today to really open your mind and heart to both giving love more freely and perhaps more importantly to receiving it.
Could lead somewhere unexpected.
It really could.
Yeah.
Definitely some food for thought there.